Right, it is that time that you've been waiting for. We have been joined here on Solihull Radio by the wonderful Mr. Michael Rosen. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here, Geoff.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us here on Solihull Radio. We really do appreciate your time. And if it's okay, I'd like to ask you some questions about your up-and-coming Bournville Book Festival appearance towards the end of this month. And I'd also like, if I may, to ask you some questions some children have written down for me.
You fire away, sir.
Excellent stuff. Firstly, the Bournville Book Festival is coming up into the West Midlands here from the 15th to the 25th. You are going to do a day with us. What are you going to be doing? What's your focus going to be?
Well, I get asked to all sorts of nice places, and this time round, I think I'll be coming and talking about poems and stories and taking questions from people who want to talk about any of that. I'm very interested in explaining to people why we need poems and stories as human beings in any time, but in these times as well.
I've noticed for this particular season, your focus is much more around poetry. Is that a conscious decision to bring that to the fore rather than your books and stories?
Well, a good few of my books are poetry books, and often that's the ones that children know. They might have seen my videos, or teachers have been using my poems in schools, sometimes just purely for entertainment and interest, and other times in order to try and encourage the children to write poems as well. So I'm always happy for that to be the emphasis. I wear several hats at the same time, so I never mind which.
Excellent stuff. So you're coming up, you're going to do a day here for the Bournville Book Festival, which is amazing. And what else are you working on currently? Am I allowed to ask what's the next big Michael Rosen thing? What's coming up?
The next book coming out is a book called How to Make Children Laugh, would you believe?
Oh.
So that's coming out in May.
I'm interested.
Yeah, well, me too.
Yeah.
I've been trying for 50 years. And someone's come along and asked me to put it down on paper, which is not as easy as it looks, because a lot of the way in which I've noticed the children laugh is because of the way I'm waving my hands about.
You are very animated, if I may say.
Well, thank you, yes. So it's quite hard to write that down in a book and say, wave your arms about, because people go, well, so do traffic wardens, I've had a go at it anyway. It's just a little book, and the idea is that those people who, it might just be parents, quite like to make their kiddies laugh, if you feel that way at bedtime, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Or alternatively, teachers or actors or performers, anybody anyway. So it's a few little tips on that.
Have you been doing any work on voice delivery recently?
I did, yes.
I was reading that you...
Two people came in to the studio. I worked for a program called Word of Mouth on BBC Radio 4, and two people came in and listened to my voice and then said how I could do other things with it, or they sort of tried me out, sort of speeding up, slowing down. The hardest thing they made me do was where I would normally go up at the end of a sentence, maybe, like that.
The rising inflection.
And all the kind of inflection things, they made me reverse it, and I just got into a right old pickle.
Oh, great.
Yes, anyway, it was very good fun.
Excellent stuff. Right, would you mind if I did the first bit of the Quickfire Questions for you?
You go ahead.
Right. And I've not censored or edited this in any way. If I can be a little bit more open, my school, when I said that I'd get to talk to you this evening, they said, right, I'm going to write you some questions, and all the children sat around and we sat down and did a big assembly about it. So I've got some here for you, if that's okay.
Okay, I'm holding my breath.
Number one, how many people read your books?
Oh, wow.
And that's
how many people read my books?
That's from Maya.
Well, I think now it is millions if you count Bear Hunt and the way that's travelled around the world. So all I can say is millions.
Okay,
yes,
and
I don't know how many millions.
She's just added, are they written in different languages, Michael?
Yes, quite a few of the books have been translated into other languages. Bear Hunt has been translated, I know, into French, German, Swedish, Spanish, and then I think there have been versions in Mandarin and Bengali, so I know that. Some of my books have been translated into Turkish.
Wow.
So, yeah, quite a few of them have been translated into other languages.
Okay, Kian would like to ask, Michael, what is your favourite film?
My Favourite film? Oh, wow. Well, when I was a kiddie, it was a film called Two-Way Stretch that was all about a bunch of guys. It had Bernard Cribbins in. Some of the children will remember him. Yes. Well, he's still on, actually, when other people can, with the Wombles and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it was one of those kind of British sort of Ealing comedy type things. Had Lionel Jeffries in as well, who was in The Railway Children and Dr. Dolittle. Excellent. And I loved that when I was a kiddie. These days, films that I've enjoyed, I really liked Wreck-It Ralph. Oh, yeah. I thought that was brilliant. I went when my youngest was quite young, and we enjoyed that one. I remember. I liked Paddington. I saw the first one, didn't see the second one. Right. Here we go. And then in the adult world, well, I don't know. I really liked The English Patient. There we are. There was a film a long time ago. Yeah. Which I enjoyed. Oh, I'm running out of films. Okay. But yes. Something like that. So
there you go, Kian. I hope that helped. This is a tricky one, and Georgina has written, you write books, but what's your favourite book?
Well, when I was a boy, my favourite book was Emil and the Detectives. It's a German book that's translated into English about a boy who's got to take some money to his grandmother, and he's sitting in the railway compartment, and he's promised himself that he won't go to sleep because if he goes to sleep, maybe the money will get stolen off him, and that's exactly what does happen. Okay. And so he has to catch the robber. So that was my favourite as a child. As an adult, one of my favourites is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Another one is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So these are some of my
favourites. A little bit of a deeper thinker now. Aksharan has asked, who are your friends in your poems?
Who are my friends in the poems?
In your poems.
Yeah.
I think he's thinking around there.
Right. So there's a guy in several of the poems who I call Harrybo, and it's nothing to do with the Harrybo sweets, because this is long before Harrybo sweets were invented. It was just a funny nickname we had for my friend whose name was Brian Harrison. And somehow or other we ended up with his nickname Harrybo, don't ask me how. And he was a boy who was in my class at school. Primary school, so that's one. Okay. So he's the main one.
He's your friend.
Apart from my brother, who's not exactly... Well, he is a friend, but he's also my brother,
Can I go quick fire? You ready for this? How many books have you written?
Over 200.
What's your personality?
Optimistic.
What's your favourite colour?
Dark blue.
Do you have any cats from Jamie?
Yes, just hang on 1 second. And we'll see whether we can hear him. Tony? 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 No, he didn't quite do it. Did you hear a little sort of...
I did a tiny...
Oh, there he is. Look, he's just having another go there. You might hear him in the background. Yes, we do. He's called Tony.
Lily has taken that question and says, do you like dogs?
I like golden Labradors, especially guide dogs.
Excellent. Oliver, how old are you, Michael?
I am 71.
Charan Pal, why do you put CDs in books?
That's so that people, if they want to hear me reading and they've got a CD player, quite often there's one still on cars, then you can hear me reading the poems, but you don't have to listen to them. You can perform them yourselves.
Anthony, why did you become an author and not a doctor?
I found that studying medicine quite difficult. And the authoring thing, I wanted to write the kinds of things that I enjoyed when I was a boy.
Okay. Last few, if that's okay, Michael. Jacob says, where did you go to school?
I went to several schools in and around the London borough of Harrow.
Excellent. What is your favourite action from Jack? I think that's from Bear.
My favourite action?
Yes.
Waving.
Waving, excellent. And Charlie... Oh, Charlie, we've already answered that one. Thank you, though. Michael, there's one last section because I talked to my teacher friends, and the reception class at Christchurch Primary, they would say, why did you lie to your mum when you ate the chocolate cake?
I know. I didn't. I just said I don't know.
Right.
It was sort of like a kind of wobbly thing where I think when I said I don't know, she probably knew that I did know, so that it was just one of those things that sometimes when you say things to parents and you say it's not exactly a lie because you know that they know what the truth is. You just sort of try to fill the space a bit. But I do understand it is a bit shocking. I should have just said yes.
Yes.
But instead I went a bit vague and said I don't know.
Okay. Can I just say a really big thank you to all the children and students at Hazel Oak School here in Solihull and Christchurch Primary.
Well, thank them for asking all the lovely questions.
And they were so excited that you were going to be around in the West Midlands here. You are up at Edgbaston High School. The tickets are out there, and you can definitely go and find out a little bit more. We have already spoken to Sarah, the organiser of the festival, so we'll put all of those details up onto the solihullradio.com website. Is there anything else, Michael, that we can glean from you? What's happening out? You're the vanguard of children's literature in my mind. So what's happening out there in terms of children's books? Is it positive? Are people reading? Of course, we had a snow day for World Book Day. How's that sat with you? Did you do anything on that?
Well, I had to cancel. I was due in a school called Ashmead Primary in Lewisham.
Right.
And I had to cancel because I wasn't 100% sure that I would be able to get out of where I live, which is called Muswell Hill, or back in again. So, in fact, I did it this week instead.
Oh,
and
right.
the head, who was a little bit sad at the time, said in actual fact it was probably all for the best because I didn't have a full school that day anyway.
Oh, right.
And so he was in a way, but we did have a full school when I went.
Excellent stuff. So everyone got to meet you and
exactly.
perform some poetry.
Yeah.
Excellent. Listen, can I say a really big thank you on behalf of all of the people here in Solihull Radio and all of the listeners, and we wish you all the best when you're up here doing your session with the Bournville Book Festival.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining us.
Okay.
You're listening to Solihull Radio.